How much interest should you show a girl? Does coming on too strong lead to the friend zone speech? How open should you be about your sexual attraction towards her? I'm Bobby Rio, and that's what we're going to discuss in this video. See, I learned the hard way that playing hard to get, it might make your ego feel good, but it won't get you girls. I can remember when I first began studying dating advice, I became obsessed with not being the nice guy who supplicates himself to women through buying her drinks or complimenting her too much or being too agreeable. And as I began to see the reaction I was getting from women change to a more positive vibe, I began to think the secret to attracting women was to appear completely disinterested in her sexually. I was the freaking king of playing hard to get. But when I started to pay attention, I noticed about a few things about the way that women were beginning to react towards me. One was, although women no longer viewed me as the nice guy who they could control and manipulate, they still weren't sexually attracted to me. Two, most women were not as confident as I initially thought. Instead of being drawn to the challenge that I was presenting myself as, a lot of them just gave up and moved on. Three, hiding the fact that I was sexually attracted to a woman often made her view me as asexual, inexperienced, or even gay. I remember one girl, Denise, who was, although I was really attracted to her, I would repeatedly tell her how she wasn't my type physically and that, I just wasn't attracted to her type. And what's funny is that while girls like Denise were no longer putting me in the friend zone, we would still wind up just being friends. And it seemed that no matter what I tried, I couldn't find that right balance between nice guy and asexual guy. Then one day I was hanging out with my friend Steve Weed, a guy who was an absolute natural with women. Up until this point, I was kind of dumbfounded as how he got girls because he displayed a lot of those nice guy tendencies, like complimenting women and kind of telegraphing his interest in them. But since I was in a bit of a dry spell at the time, instead of critiquing his nice guy behavior, I decided to really pay attention and try to see if I could figure out why it was working for him. As it turned out, while one minute I was watching Steve just shamelessly admit to a woman that she was turning him on, the next minute Steve was flirting with one of her friends and all but ignoring her. This seemed to have the women just kind of glued on him, right? And as I continued to watch Steve, I noticed how he would verbally express strong desire towards a girl, but at the same time gave off the impression that if she walked away, his night would not even be the slightest bit, ruined. In fact, he'd probably have another girl within minutes. That was the vibe he was giving off. At one point, Steve actually began telling the girl what he was going to do with her later in the bedroom, right? He's telling her this, and then a few seconds after saying this to her, he turns to me and he's like, yo, want to go shoot some pool over there? And as we shot pool, I remember the woman basically sat in the corner just staring at him the entire time. And I started to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I realized that it's not about completely hiding your desire and pretending to be kind of indifferent towards her. It's about expressing your desire for her, but really being indifferent towards the outcome. Now, real quick, before I continue, I want to let you know that my friend Chris Anderson and I are holding a special web class called The Friend She Falls in Love With. And if you have a female friend in your life, a coworker, even a neighbor that you're interested in, register for the free web class at the link because we're going to show you a simple method for getting a female friend to fall in love with you. Just click the link and register for the free class. So back to Steve. The girl that Steve was flirting with that night in the bar, he knew that he found her sexually attractive, right? But she also got the impression that Steve was so used to getting women that he found sexually attractive that if she disappeared, he would hardly notice she was gone. In the past, I had always been so focused on expressing disinterest that I completely failed to get her interested in me in the first place. There could be no chase if a woman isn't chasing you. You're not a challenge if a woman isn't intent on getting you. That's a strong point a lot of guys miss. In fact, it's your initial interest in her that makes her notice you. But it's how you respond when she reciprocates that interest that either ignites the chase or makes her think, I guess I was wrong about him and he is hungry for my approval. Okay, I have a simple exercise that I'd like you to try next time you're out. As you're talking to a woman and you're starting to sense some sort of flirtation or connection taking place, Use a strong statement of desire for her. An easy way to do this is after she says something funny, you can look at her and say, now I'm really intrigued. You're funny and really, really sexy. You don't really find that too often, especially not in this bar. After you say this to the woman, go back to acting completely normal. Almost as if you never even said it, right? In fact, if her friends are around, begin chatting and flirting with them a little bit. Don't ignore her completely, but just enough to ignite the chase. What you're gonna find is that by putting that statement of desire out there, it greatly increases the amount of natural tension between you and her. And tension is known to amplify attraction. Now, when it comes to female friends in your life, you actually have a huge advantage that most guys never capitalize on. Most guys think that being friends with a girl is the kiss of death. And I'm here to tell you, it's the complete opposite. And female friends, coworkers, women from your social scene are the easiest to get. And when you register for my free web class, we have a couple of sessions right now that you can choose from. We'll lay out our step-by-step method for becoming the friend she falls in love with. Now, as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like, and hopefully I'll see you on the Friend She Falls in Love With web class.